Salutations, and let me be the first to welcome everyone watching to this year's iteration of our Black Speedrunning charity fundraiser event, Back to Black 2026. These 4 days will be one to celebrate as we highlight the passions of bright Black individuals volunteering for an important mission. My name is Bobby, and I'm excited to be here presiding as part of the team. We return this year, raising funds to bolster the efforts of the organization known as Race Forward. And with me, I would like for everyone here to give a warm welcome to the long-standing digital communications manager of the org, Mr. Cedric Brown. How are you doing, my friend?
Bobby, it's good to be able to chat with you. What's up? What's up, y'all? What up, though?
Yeah, we are so. I mean, honestly, I'm super excited to interview more people of like Race Forward. Last year, I had the pleasure of having Miss Moan Bermudez on, and she was an absolute delight to kind of like provide the mind of more of like an interpersonal thing, but also kind of keeping our sights aligned toward our vision. So again, everyone here loved supporting the endeavors of Race Forward, loved aligning with the organization's vision across the board. We'd love to get to know another key member. So if you would mind, tell us a little bit more about yourself, maybe relate us a little bit about your key role within Race Forward.
Yeah, sure. So as you stated, I'm the digital communications manager at Race Forward. You're kind of generous in that I don't know that I'm long standing. I've been here for about 2.5 years. And so what I do with Race Forward is manage obviously all of our digital media channels. I'm usually the guy that's monitoring our social media handles, which is like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, our Blue Sky, and our threads. I'm supporting with uploading video content for our channel, our YouTube channel. I'm adjusting some of the website content and the copy at raceforward.org. And then, I support with email marketing too. And so, it's being able to find a balance between all the things we want to communicate about and get people engaged with what's going on with Race Forward throughout the year.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do a little bit of a 1A on this because even in the past few years alone, we've had to accept a whole bunch of different platforms. Like you just mentioned Blue Sky, and Blue Sky is incredibly evolving and very budding with with trends, especially in the nonprofit and fundraising space. How did you find the sort of acclamation to Race Forward to Blue Sky? And did you find it a bit easy to spread the message on that platform?
Yeah, it's still kind of experimental for us. So the way that kind of came about is we left Twitter at the end of 2024. We saw some of the things that were starting to happen. We were starting to lose our followers. It was, for most of the same reasons why people were migrating to Blue Sky, we decided to leave Twitter. I'm not even going to bother calling it X. All right. And so with Blue Sky as a suitable alternative, it's been interesting for us to, as we're working through finding our voice and finding a way to continue that engagement. And we see that, the Back to Black has a great community on Blue Sky, and it's been fun to see. And we're looking forward to, we're keeping tabs on you all to, get some lessons and be able to take them for ourselves.
And I'm sure we can definitely learn from each other as we continue to tread through these unknown platforms, and again, it's very ever shifting. So speaking of which, I'd love to give you some time to detail the important work that Race Forward does all year round. So can you highlight some of the key points of progress made in the past year? What has happened since, say, Back to Black 2025?
Yeah, the biggest thing that we were able to do last year was the introduction of our new narrative strategies focus conference, or our convening. It's called Just Narratives for Multiracial Solidarity. We had it in St. Louis, which is the same city where we had Facing Race 2024. And it was really a way for us to continue deepening our relationship with that city. And Just Narratives is going to be similar to Facing Race, is going to be a biannual event.
Mhm.
This one was much more smaller in scale because it had more of a niche and working with communication strategists and working with narrative strategists, other racial justice advocates that are focused more so on messaging and how we build the messages that can counterattack the narratives that we're currently facing now. That
Mhm.
I don't have to really name some of the negative stereotypes that we're actually facing, but we know that when we come together, and that's what Just Narratives was, the start of a growing movement to be able to combat some of those negative stereotypes and to be able to reclaim our own story.
Yeah, and it's really good that we continue to have like these events, like you were just saying, like Facing Race, right? And I had a bit of a point in my notes to bring this up a little bit later in the conversation, but I kind of want to bring it up now because it's like for the folks within the community that would like to support the organization's efforts, like beyond like Back to Black, like we are the game nerds, like we have our hyper niche space, like we are in the know because we kind of move like in like a hive mind or some aspect like that. But my question was, are there any big events that Race 4 would be attending and want I to be on? And I was doing a little bit of research about the Facing Race for this year, how it's like sort of like a GDQ, like of sort of like melting pot of like these sort of like same ideals. Do you want to go like a little bit more into that?
As far as talking about Facing Race coming up for this year,
Yeah.
yeah, so this year we're going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, and so I can give you a little sneak peek of what the theme is going to be,
Yeah.
and we're going to be talking. The programming at this year's Facing Race is going to be rooted around, rooted in resistance, powered by solidarity, is what our theme is going to be when we join in Raleigh. And Facing Race is one of the nation's largest multicultural conferences on racial justice, and similar to GDQ's marathon, it's
Mhm.
going to be a space for thousands of activists, artists, and organizers to come together, share strategies, and build collective energy needed to win. And registration for that is going to be open soon. I can't give you a specific date, but be on the lookout.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll give a sort of like a description of where to find that information at the end. I will get you covered about that. Kind of like like 2Aing that though, because it's like again with GDQ with Back to Black, we kind of like have a sort of like traditional way of like volunteering. What are some ways that like an average person, average Joe, better put, like a volunteer hopeful? I don't really want to call them average Joes. Like everyone's like kind of like unique and special, But how can they get involved in the movement and like the message of the organization of Race Forward? Like how can you show it to an event wanting to work, wanting to help? Like what are the ways that we can like really activate them for that?
Yeah, so beyond just our Facing Race, which we do offer volunteer opportunities, you have to already be wanting to attend Facing Race.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, we do have other offerings throughout the year. We do offer trainings on racial equity too. Our hallmark and our entry point into that is building racial equity, which really sets the foundation for understanding what racial equity is. But when you go beyond that, too, we also offer power building for racial equity, being able to be equipped to make decisions for racial equity. And if you
Mm-hmm.
have aspirations on becoming a facilitator, we offer trainings on that, too. We also offer resources, for combating authoritarianism and the work that you do for racial justice. And we're not just racial justice, but housing justice, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and looking at some of the root solutions for correcting the injustices that have been in our housing system. And then finally, we offer resources on building narratives that win and that build solidarity, multiracial solidarity.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and I love, me personally, like, love narrative, love the story building, love kind of giving people like a reason to be engaged and hooked, especially like when you're trying to convey a very important message, very, like a very dire stance of activation, of resistance, of like things like that. Like it's something that is definitely needed and warranted, and I would love for more of these pieces. I mean, like, you're going to be seeing a lot more of the promotional Race Forward pieces throughout this weekend. Speaking of this weekend, though, how about you yourself? Are you a fan of video games? Like did you grow up with video games as a kid, or do you have like a relationship with them now?
Yeah, it's interesting. I did grow up with video games as a kid. I was more so of a Nintendo kid, so Nintendo 64, things like Mario Kart,
Mhm.
Super Mario. But really, like today, I literally stick to the PlayStation 5. I'm a simple guy. Like I love sports. And so, from back then playing things like NBA Live and Madden, now all I play is MLB The Show. And I just found out this earlier this week that Aaron Judge is going to be on the cover for this year.
Oh,
And
snap.
honestly, yeah, because baseball is one of my other loves. And, while I'm not working or while I'm not playing softball, MLB The Show is kind of my way of,
Mhm.
unwinding from the workday and unwinding from everything else that's kind of going on. So sorry that I'm kind of a narrow guy there, but I
No,
can relate. I can relate. I mean, and one of my favorite ones too growing up was also on the Sega Genesis. It was Streets of Rage 2.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's an all-time classic.
See, there we go. Those little like coin opper, like, like those beat 'em ups. We have a lot of Streets of Rage, like just a lot of Sega fans, like in our little community, like as well. But I mean, I vibe with you when it comes to, like, I just want to unwind with, like, sports games, or like 2K, or like, NBA Live. What was it? No, it was NFL 2005. NFL 2K 2005 had like the best soundtrack, best mechanics. You can call it retro now. It's like 20 years old, but but that's super awesome. Like, again, like, and even though, like, like, even though you're not like a super like big gamer, like, like the sort of like impact that, like, video games can make, like whether it's either relaxing, very therapeutic, or, I mean, we've seen like gripping storyline, that narrative that we were talking about like a little bit earlier, right? Like they know how to build it, they know how to hone it, they know how to send that message. So with that in mind, are there any like words of wisdom, words of encouragement that you can impart to us to kind of like, like that to spur that incentive of contributing to a better and equally just future, to that vision of Race Forward?
Yeah, I'll try to break it down into speed running terms for you all. So we look at the glitches that are in the system. Hopefully, that's not condescending. But we looking for the glitches that are in the system. We're looking at the root causes of disparity, like redlining or unequal school funding, and we're working to really patch them to move beyond reform to achieve lasting structural change that benefits everyone. And as you all are playing this or next weekend, know that by donating to us, you're fueling a movement that builds a just multiracial democracy, from training government workers to protecting our democratic institutions. Your support for us helps build a future where all of our communities can thrive.
And this is why we do it here. Like, again, like the amount of impact, the amount of community togetherness that we've had here, especially for last year's Back to Black, was nothing short of fantastic, and we expect nothing more but the same, and even more. Sorry, nothing more but more, right? But we just want to, continue to climb on higher, continue to keep one foot in front of the other, to keep those funds going, so we can bolster the effects of Race Forward. and the amount of impact that you folks cause, like in your spheres, basically. But Mr. Cedric Brown, everyone, and thank you very much for sitting down with us to discuss a lot of what matters, whether it be in our neck of the woods or all across the country. Again, for those watching at home, if you're interested in learning more about the organization that we are supporting all weekend, I implore you to visit their website at raceforward.org. As I said last year, we still got a lot of work to do, but turn that anticipation into excitement as we are ready to begin 4 full days of speed runs and showcases stemming from unapologetically Black performers. So with Cedric, I have been Bobby, and this is Back to Black 2026.